EduPro Lectures. Professional education. Clearly explained.
The world economy. The United Nations, UN, tried to address the different problems in the world. Their efforts were guided by the 8 Millennium Development Goals, which they created in the 1990s. Among these 8 goals, the eradication of extreme poverty and hunger ranked as the first. The other 7 goals include achieving universal primary education, promoting gender equality and women empowerment, reducing child mortality, improving maternal health, combating diseases like HIV/AIDS and malaria, ensuring environmental sustainability, and having a global partnership for development. The UN tried to achieve them by the year 2015. Since there are different standards of living around the world, we can expect different meanings attached to it. In the Philippines, a person is officially living in poverty if he makes less than 100,534 pesos a year, around 275 pesos a day. This is called the poverty line or poverty threshold. But we are going to focus on extreme poverty, which, according to the UN 2015, is a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, health, shelter, education, and information. The UN defines extreme or absolute poverty as living on less than $1.25 a day. The organization aims to eliminate extreme poverty for all people by 2030. It was 3 years ago and the results were in. The UN 2015 reported that 836 million people still live in extreme poverty, but that is down from 1.9 billion. So there is success, or at least a lot of progress. The World Bank predicted that by 2030, the number of people living in extreme poverty could drop to less than 400 million. Of course, that assumes everything will keep improving as it has been. However, climate change has to be considered since it is a threat to these improvements in global poverty. Most people who have been lifted out of extreme poverty are still poor, and being poor comes with serious problems, from disease to lack of water. Income inequality is rampant, and 1 in 7 people still live without electricity. So why is extreme poverty falling? The answer to this is really complicated. A set of factors like better access to education, humanitarian aid, and the policies of international organizations like the UN have made a difference. However, the greatest contributor is economic globalization. The world's economies have become more interconnected, and free trade has driven the growth of many developing economies. Economic globalization and global trade. According to the United Nations, economic globalization refers to the increasing interdependence of world economies as a result of the growing scale of cross-border trade of commodities and services, flow of international capital, and wide and rapid spread of technologies. It reflects the continuing expansion and mutual integration of market frontiers and is an irreversible trend for the economic development in the whole world at the turn of the millennium. There are 2 different types of economies associated with economic globalization, protectionism, and trade liberalization. Protectionism means a policy of systematic government intervention in foreign trade with the objective of encouraging domestic production. This encouragement involves giving preferential treatment to domestic producers and discriminating against foreign competitors. Trade protectionism usually comes in the form of quotas and tariffs. Tariffs are required fees on imports or exports. For instance, a pen that costs $1 in country A and in country B, it would be given $5 tariff. The pen would become $6 in country B. This policy was practiced during the Mercantilist Era from 16th to 17th centuries until the early years of the Industrial Revolution. The Great Depression of 1929 marked the peak of protectionism. Until today, protectionism exists in the world economy despite the growth of trade liberalization. Countries such as China, Japan, and the United States are being accused of practicing protectionism. World War II heavily influenced the shifting of the dominant economic policy from protectionism to trade liberalization or free trade. Free trade agreements and technological advances in transportation and communication mean goods and services move around the world more easily than ever. We are talking about everything from shoes and bananas to innovations and ideas. Let us take mobile phones as an example. Mobile phones seem to have good consequences for everything, including reducing poverty. According to economist Jeffrey Sachs, mobile phones are the single most transformative technology when it comes to the developing world. Phones give people access to banking and payment systems and better access to education and information. In some places, mobile phones help farmers get information and get the best price for the crops they are producing. Installing cell phone towers is also a lot cheaper than running thousands of kilometers of telephone lines. Economists call this leapfrogging, the idea that countries can skip straight to more efficient and cost-effective technologies that were not available in the past. International trade has also created new opportunities for people to sell their products and labor in a global marketplace. Globalization made some countries, especially the developing ones, to gain more in the global economy at the expense of other nations. There are various ways, however, the country can make trade easier with other countries while lessening the inequities in the global world. One of them is fair trade. Fair trade, as defined by the International Fair Trade Association, is the concern for the social, economic, and environmental well-being of marginalized small producers. It aims for a more moral and equitable global economic system. Specifically, it is concerned with protection of workers and producers, establishment of more just prices, engagement in environmentally sound practices, and sustainable production, creation of relationships between producers in the South and consumers in the North, and promotion of safe working environment. Products like coffee, bananas, cotton, wine, tea, and chocolate have been exchanged in light of fair trade. A concrete example of the growth of fair trade is the case of American coffee chains such as Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. In 2006, there are $2.2 billion spent on certified products, which is 42% greater than the preceding year. In turn, coffee growers such as those in Brazil get at least $1.29 per pound of coffee beans, compared to the current market price of $1.25. Overall, this example explains that fair trade helps balance the global market by allowing producers in developing countries to earn more, while consumers and companies in developed countries support ethical and sustainable production. Overall, the discussion shows how global economic policies have shifted from protectionism toward freer trade, driven by historical events, technological advances, and growing global interdependence. Free trade and innovations such as mobile technology have expanded opportunities for developing countries by improving access to markets, information, and income. Moreover, fair trade practices demonstrate how global trade can promote more equitable outcomes by ensuring better prices and livelihoods for producers.